Hi everybody, Hank Reifsnyder here. I hope this message finds you doing well. Today we're having a quick discussion about what is a will and why it's important, and how do you know if you need one. Well, a will is a document that essentially handles your estate for you if something happens to you. And your estate would be all of your assets that have to pass through the probate process. So a really simple way of knowing what passes through probate and what doesn't is like any account that you have a designated beneficiary on, or any account or asset that you own that automatically transfers to somebody else upon your death, like those things don't pass through the probate process. The will does not impact those. So retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, your house, your car, checking accounts, savings accounts, these are all things that you should be able to set them up so that they bypass the probate process at this point. But that's a will. A will is a legal document that handles your estate. How do you know if you need one? You definitely need a will if you have kids, or if you have any assets that would have to pass through an estate, because you don't want the state to determine where your assets go. You want to be able to make those decisions yourself, and the will is the document that gives you that opportunity to make those decisions. So those things are executed on your behalf. And from my perspective, the most important thing that a will does is for a young family or a young single parent, somebody that has a child that is still a minor. Like, the will specifies who would become legal guardian of your kids if something happens to you. And there's two different ways that looks. You can use the will to specify who physically takes care of your kids, so who would they move in with if something happened to you. And you can also use the will to specify like who would handle their finances. And these are really difficult decisions for some people. I understand this is not an easy thing to talk about, but it's an important thing to talk about. Like I've said in the past, my father did not plan to pass away when I was 11 years old. Like, thankfully, my mom is still around doing really well today. But if, heaven forbid, something would have happened to her after our dad passed away, like the will would have been specifying who you're going to move in with, and if there would have been any money. In our case, there wasn't, but if there would have been any money for my sister and I, like, who would look after that for us? So, if you have kids, you definitely need a will. If you're married and have assets that you want to go to your husband or your wife, if something happens to you and those assets are automatically transferable over that way, like, you should have a will. If you're young and single, it's maybe not as critical unless you have assets that you want to make sure that they go to the people you want them to go to, and they're things that can't be transferred on death, payable on death, or designated by beneficiary. So if you take nothing away from this video other than like what's a will and who needs one, like, then I feel like we've accomplished something here. The will is the document that handles your estate after you pass away, and anybody that has an estate that they care about or has kids that they care about needs to have a will. I'm not an attorney, so this is not something that I can help you with, but you're welcome to reach out to me, let me know where you live, and I can try and help connect you with somebody in an area that can help you out. So again, this is Hank Reifsnyder, and I hope this message finds you doing well. Thanks.